The sun was merciless that afternoon. Waves crashed against the rocky shoreline of a nameless island in the vast South Pacific, where nothing seemed to move except the restless water and the occasional seabird. Jake Martinez squinted against the bright light, adjusting the strap of his research equipment. Another day of marine sampling, another routine expedition that promised to be mind-numbingly ordinary. But today would be different. As he walked along the beach, collecting water samples and checking his marine tracking devices, something caught his eye. At first, he thought it was driftwood, or perhaps a strange piece of marine debris. But as he approached, the shape became more defined. It was a body. Jake's heart raced. Shipwreck victim. Lost sailor. He quickened his pace, professional training kicking in. Survival protocols. Check for signs of life. Be careful. Approach slowly. When he was close enough, he stopped dead in his tracks. This was no ordinary human. The figure was humanoid, but clearly not human, dressed in a complex metallic suit that seemed more like advanced technology than clothing. The being looked like something out of a science fiction movie. The suit was damaged, with strange fracture lines running across its surface. Sparks occasionally jumped from broken circuits. She was female, Jake realized. Her skin had a pale blue-gray tone that looked almost luminescent under the harsh sunlight. Her features were delicate but alien. High cheekbones, slightly elongated eyes that were currently closed, and hair that seemed to shimmer between silver and pale blue. Jake's marine biology training warred with his immediate survival instincts. Everything he knew told him this was incredibly dangerous. An unknown life form. Potential biohazard. Unknown intentions. But she was dying. The alien's breathing was shallow. Her suit was critically damaged, and even Jake could see that several key components were offline. Dark liquid, maybe blood, maybe something else entirely, leaked from a large gash on her side. "Hey," Jake said softly, knowing she couldn't hear him. "Hey, can you hear me?" No response. He knelt down, careful not to touch her immediately. Years of field research had taught him caution. He pulled out his first aid kit and emergency thermal blanket. The medical training he'd received for remote expeditions would have to be enough. First, he checked her vital signs. Pulse was different from human. Slower, but definitely present. Breathing was labored but consistent. Temperature readings on his portable scanner showed her body was significantly cooler than a human's, suggesting a different metabolic system. Jake made a decision that would change everything. He would help her. Using his thermal blanket and carefully applying pressure to the wound, he began basic first aid. The alien suit seemed to have some self-repair mechanisms that activated when he touched certain points, creating a strange dance of human intervention and alien technology. The island was remote. His research vessel was hours away. No immediate communication. No backup. Just him, an unconscious alien, and miles of empty ocean. As the afternoon wore on, Jake continued his careful ministrations. The alien's breathing stabilized slightly. Her suit began to emit soft, pulsing lights. Diagnostic systems slowly coming back to life. Little did Jake know, this moment marked the beginning of an extraordinary journey. A chance encounter that would challenge everything humanity understood about its place in the universe. The alien girl breathed. The waves continued their endless rhythm. And on this small, forgotten island, a story unlike any other was about to unfold. The alien's eyes snapped open. They were not human eyes. Deep violet with flecks of silver, they seemed to glow with an inner light that made Jake take an involuntary step backward. One moment she was completely still, and the next, she was moving with a speed that defied her apparent injuries. Her hand, slender but strong, with long fingers that didn't quite match human anatomy, shot out and grabbed Jake's wrist. The grip was impossibly tight, and Jake could feel a strange tingling sensation where her skin touched his. "Who are you?" The words came out as a mechanical sound, more like a computer processing language than actual speech. Her universal translator was clearly malfunctioning. Jake tried to stay calm. His marine biology training had prepared him for unexpected encounters, but never something like this. "I'm Jake," he said slowly, deliberately. "I found you on the beach. You were injured." The alien's eyes scanned him rapidly, a series of holographic-like projections flickering across her damaged suit. Jake could see complex data streams moving across her vision, probably some kind of advanced scanning technology. She was analyzing him, just as he was studying her. Suddenly, she released his wrist and slumped back. The movement was both aggressive and vulnerable. Jake noticed her breathing was labored, and sparks continued to dance across her damaged suit. "Zara kicks," she finally said, the words slightly more natural this time. "Sinobiological Research Division. Viridian Confederacy." Each word seemed to be a struggle. Jake recognized the names meant nothing to him, but he nodded anyway. "You're safe," he said, reaching for his water bottle. "Do you need water?" The alien, Zara Kicks, stared at the bottle with suspicion. Her hand moved to a small device on her wrist, tapping it repeatedly. Nothing happened. Jake could see frustration building in her remarkable eyes. "Communication, damage," she managed to say. Her universal translator was clearly struggling, cobbling together words in a way that made communication challenging. Jake realized this was going to be complicated. He pulled out his first aid kit again, showing her each item slowly. Bandages, antiseptic, water, food packets. Her eyes tracked each movement with an intensity that was both fascinating and slightly terrifying. "Your suit," Jake said, pointing. "It's damaged." Zara Kicks looked down. For the first time, something like emotion crossed her alien features, something between anger and despair. Her sophisticated technology, her lifeline, was failing, and she was stranded on an unknown planet with a species she was explicitly forbidden to contact. Jake made a decision. He might not understand alien technology, but he understood machines. Years of marine research had taught him how to repair delicate scientific equipment under challenging conditions. "May I?" he asked, pointing to her suit. The look she gave him was a mixture of contempt, desperation, and something else. Curiosity, perhaps. She nodded. As Jake carefully examined the suit, Zara Kicks watched him. Her scanning systems were partially offline, but she could still observe. This human was different from what her extensive database had prepared her for. Most primitive species would either run in terror or attempt to capture her for study. This one was trying to help her. The waves continued to crash against the shore. The sun began to dip towards the horizon, casting long shadows across the beach. Two beings from completely different worlds sat together, united by a simple, unexpected moment of survival. Neither of them knew that this moment would change everything. The tropical storm arrived without warning. Dark clouds rolled in from the horizon, transforming the peaceful island into a battlefield of wind and rain. Jake knew they needed shelter quickly. Zara Kicks, still weakened from her injuries, watched with a mixture of curiosity and concern as he began to work. "We need to move," Jake shouted over the increasing wind. "Can you walk?" Zara Kicks tested her limbs. Her alien physiology was already healing faster than a human's would, but the damage to her suit remained significant. She managed a stiff nod. Jake had spent years on remote research expeditions. Survival was second nature to him. Within minutes, he was gathering palm fronds, fallen branches, and vines. His hands moved with practiced efficiency, weaving and bending the natural materials into a surprisingly sturdy shelter. Zara Kicks watched in fascination. Her civilization had long-range transporters, force fields, and advanced shelter technologies. Yet this human was creating protection using nothing more than raw materials and basic knowledge. As the first heavy raindrops began to fall, Jake pulled Zara Kicks into the makeshift shelter. The space was tight, forcing them closer together. She could feel the heat radiating from his body, warmer than her own alien physiology. Water, Jake said, pulling out a small filtration device from his research kit. He collected rainwater in a container, then carefully processed it. Zara Kicks's damaged scanner tried to analyze the water, but only produced fragmented results. Jake noticed her struggle. "It's safe," he said, holding out the water, filtered and clean. She hesitated, then took the container. Her fingers brushed against his, sending a strange electrical tingle through both of them. The water tasted different from anything in her experience, pure, with a hint of minerals unique to Earth. Outside, the storm intensified. Lightning cracked across the sky, illuminating their small shelter in brief, brilliant moments. Jake began checking their supplies, organizing what little they had. A marine biologist's toolkit, some emergency rations, a first aid kit, and now an alien companion. Zara Kicks's suit continued to emit occasional sparks and dim morning lights. Jake studied it carefully, his scientific mind already working on potential repairs. "May I?" he asked, pointing to a particularly damaged section. She nodded, watching carefully. Humans were not supposed to be this resourceful. Her extensive xenobiological training had categorized Earth's inhabitants as a pre-contact species, primitive, limited, not yet ready for galactic interaction. Jake's hands moved carefully, using a combination of marine research tools and creative problem-solving. He used waterproof tape from his kit, carefully realigning some of the suit's external circuits. It wasn't a perfect repair, but it would help stabilize the suit's remaining systems. "Impressive," Zara Kicks managed to say, her translator working slightly better now. Jake smiled. It was the first genuine smile she had seen from him. Warm, genuine, without fear or aggression. "Survival is about adaptation," he replied. The storm continued to rage outside. Their shelter, built from palm fronds, and Jake's wilderness expertise, held firm. Water dripped. Wind howled. But inside, two beings from entirely different worlds sat together, united by the most basic of human instincts: survival. Zara Kicks realized something fundamental was changing. Her perception of humanity was about to be completely rewritten. And this small, nameless island would be where it all began. The morning after the storm brought an uneasy peace. Zara Kicks's suit had partially recharged overnight, creating a soft blue glow around her damaged exterior. Jake watched her carefully, fascinated by the alien technology that seemed both advanced and fragile. Her universal translator now worked in short, broken bursts, enough to create a basic dialogue. "Your world," Zara Kicks said, her mechanical voice slightly more natural, "is not in our records." Jake raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" She tapped her wrist device, and a holographic map flickered to life. Countless star systems and civilizations were marked, but Earth appeared as a blank space. "Pre-contact species," she explained. "Observation only. No direct interaction." The implications were clear. Zara Kicks wasn't supposed to be here. She wasn't supposed to be talking to him. Jake decided to probe further. "Tell me about your civilization," he said, offering her a protein bar from his emergency supplies. The alien looked at the food with suspicion before carefully accepting it. Her scanning systems analyzed every molecule before she took a small bite. Her expression, as much as a human could read an alien's face, suggested surprise. "Viridian Confederacy," she began, "exists for 3,742 standard cycles." The words came out in a rhythmic, almost mechanical pattern. "We observe. We study. We do not interfere." Jake understood now. Her entire civilization was built on a principle of non-intervention. Zara Kicks's current situation was a complete violation of everything she knew. "How did you end up here?" Jake asked. The holographic display changed. Suddenly, they were looking at a star map with a complex battle scene. Bright energy weapons, small ships darting between larger vessels. Zara Kicks's finger traced a path. "Pirates," she said, The word carried a weight of contempt. Attacked research vessel. Emergency protocol activated. Jake could see the pain in her alien eyes. This wasn't just a mission gone wrong. This was a personal disaster. Your people, Zara Kix suddenly asked. What drives you? It was an unexpected question. Jake thought carefully before responding. Curiosity, he said finally. Understanding. Exploration. The alien processed this. Her civilization valued observation, but humans valued engagement. It was a fundamental difference that fascinated her. Jake shared stories of human exploration. The first sailors who crossed oceans, astronauts who reached the moon, scientists who decoded the human genome. With each story, Zara Kix's perception shifted. Risky, she commented about the moon landing. No guaranteed survival. Jake laughed. That's kind of the point. We do things even when we're not sure we'll succeed. Her scanning systems worked overtime, trying to understand this concept. Humans didn't just observe. They acted. They risked. They changed. As the day progressed, an unlikely friendship began to form. Two beings from completely different worlds, sharing a small island and slowly understanding each other. The sun began to set. Waves crashed against the shore. And somewhere in the vast universe, two civilizations were about to be forever changed by this unexpected encounter. Zara Kix looked at Jake, her violet eyes reflecting something new. Not just data. Not just observation. Something closer to respect. The first sign of trouble came with a distant humming. Jake heard it first. A low electronic vibration that seemed to make the air itself tremble. Zara Kix froze, her entire body becoming suddenly rigid. Her damaged suit's lights began to pulse with an urgent warning rhythm. They're coming, she whispered. High above the small island, a sleek vessel materialized. It was unlike anything Jake had ever seen. Sharp geometric lines, a metallic surface that seemed to shift and change even as he looked at it. No windows, no visible propulsion, just pure alien technology hanging in the sky like a predatory bird. Zara Kix's hand moved to her suit, attempting to activate some kind of communication or defense system. Nothing worked. Her civilization's most advanced technology was reduced to sparking, half-dead circuits. Retrieval team, she explained, her mechanical voice filled with something Jake recognized as fear. Protocol requires complete mission sanitization. Jake didn't understand the full meaning, but the word sanitization sent a chill down his spine. What does that mean? Her violet eyes met his. Elimination of contact evidence. Of me. Of you. The implications were clear. These were not rescue workers. They were cleaners. Agents designed to remove any trace of unauthorized contact. Jake's marine biology training had prepared him for unexpected situations, but nothing could have prepared him for this. An alien retrieval team. A potential threat to his entire existence. We need to hide, he said, his mind racing. Zara Kix looked around the small island. There were few places to conceal themselves. The beach was open. The jungle behind them was dense, but offered limited protection against advanced scanning technology. Jake began to move, gathering their limited supplies. His research kit, emergency rations, medical equipment, each item carefully selected, each movement precise. The alien vessel began to descend. Its approach was silent, terrifyingly so. No sound of engines, no disturbance of the air. Just pure advanced technology moving with calculated precision. Jake could see scanning beams, thin lines of blue-white light, beginning to sweep across the island. Your technology, Zara Kix said suddenly, might be our only chance. Jake looked confused. My basic research equipment? She nodded. Her suit's damaged systems were analyzing Jake's marine research tools with renewed intensity. Devices designed for tracking marine life, water filtration systems, communication equipment meant for remote expeditions. Improvisation, she said. The word came out almost like a compliment. Jake's mind began to work. His communication devices, signal disruptors used to track marine migrations, electronic equipment designed to work in extreme conditions. Slowly, a plan began to form. The retrieval team's scanning beams grew more intense. Jake could feel the technology probing, searching, analyzing every inch of the island. Zara Kix moved closer to him. Her alien physiology was tense, ready for whatever might come next. But there was something else in her posture, something that looked remarkably like trust. "Ready?" Jake asked. Her violet eyes met his. No words were necessary. The alien vessel continued its descent. The island waited, and two beings from completely different worlds prepared to face an impossible challenge. Survival was about to get complicated. Technology met creativity in the most unexpected of battlegrounds. Jake's marine research equipment lay spread out on the rocky ground. Zara Kix watched with growing fascination as he began to modify his devices: a water salinity tracker, a marine migration signal disruptor, a portable satellite communication unit. To her, these were primitive tools. To Jake, they were survival. "Explain," Zara Kix demanded, her mechanical voice tinged with curiosity. Jake's hands moved quickly. "These devices are designed to work in extreme conditions," he said. "They can send out complex signal patterns, disrupt electronic scanning." The alien scanning systems worked overtime, analyzing his improvised approach. Humans were not supposed to be this adaptable. Her entire civilization's database suggested primitive species should be predictable, controllable. Jake was proving them wrong. He connected various devices using cables from his research kit, stripped wires, rerouted circuits, created something entirely new. A makeshift signal jammer that combined marine research technology with pure human ingenuity. The alien vessel's scanning beams grew more intense. Blue-white lights swept across the island, searching, probing. Jake knew they had minutes, maybe less. "This might work," he muttered, "or we might just make ourselves easier to find." Zara Kix's suit began to interface with his devices. Her advanced technology merged with his basic equipment in a way neither of them expected. Alien circuits connected with human innovation. Two completely different technological approaches finding a common language. A series of complex signal patterns began to broadcast. Random, chaotic, designed to confuse any advanced scanning system. The alien vessel hesitated. Its scanning beams flickered, became less precise. Something was interfering with their most advanced technology. Jake grinned. It was working. Zara Kix watched in amazement. Her civilization had spent centuries developing perfect, predictable technologies. Humans created solutions by breaking rules, by doing the unexpected. "Your people," she said, "do not follow standard protocols." "That's kind of the point," Jake replied. The signal jammer continued to work. The alien vessel's movements became erratic. Its perfect geometric shape seemed to waver, confused by the chaotic human-alien hybrid signal. But Jake knew this was temporary. They needed a more permanent solution. "We need to mask our heat signatures," he said, pulling out thermal blankets and his marine research equipment. "Reduce our visibility." Zara Kix's suit began to adjust. Her alien technology worked to minimize their electromagnetic and thermal output. Jake used emergency thermal blankets, creating makeshift shields. The island became a battlefield of technology and survival. Minutes passed. The alien vessel continued its search pattern, but something was different. Their scanning became less precise, more random. Jake and Zara Kix held their breath. One moment of mistake could mean everything. The vessel's movements became more uncertain. Its perfect technological precision was being challenged by a marine biologist's research kit and an alien's damaged suit. Humanity's greatest strength had always been adaptation. Today, that strength might just save them both. The confrontation was nothing like anyone expected. A sharp beam of light cut through the island's landscape. Three figures materialized. Tall, angular beings that looked more like living machines than organic creatures. Their bodies seemed to shift and change, metallic surfaces rippling like liquid metal. Zara Kix moved closer to Jake. Her damaged suit created a protective field around them both. Zara Kix, designation R9. The lead figure spoke. Its voice was a perfect blend of mechanical precision and something almost human. Violation of Confederacy Protocol 7 Alpha detected. Jake couldn't understand the words, but the tone was clear. Threat. Judgment. Elimination. Zara Kix's response came in a language Jake had never heard. Complex. Musical. Filled with mathematical precision. But beneath the alien words, he could hear something else. Defiance. The retrieval team's scanning beams intensified. Jake could feel the technology probing, searching for weaknesses. His improvised signal jammer continued to work, creating waves of electronic interference. One of the alien figures turned its attention to Jake. No eyes, just a smooth metallic surface that seemed to see everything and nothing at once. Unknown variable detected, the figure said, now speaking in perfectly modulated English. Primitive species, unexpected interaction. Jake stood his ground. Years of marine research had taught him to remain calm in unpredictable situations. This was just another research challenge. Extreme. Unexpected. But still a challenge. Zara Kix began to explain, her mechanical translator working overtime to bridge the communication gap. She described their survival. The storm, Jake's assistance, each word carefully chosen, each detail precisely articulated. The retrieval team listened. Their body language, if it could be called that, suggested something close to confusion. Machines were not supposed to be confused. Yet here they were, processing information that didn't fit their established protocols. Unauthorized contact, one figure stated. Immediate sanitization required. Jake didn't understand the word sanitization, but the threat was clear. Something bad was coming. Zara Kix's suit began to change. Defensive mechanisms activated. Her alien technology merged with Jake's improvised equipment in ways neither of them had anticipated. A hybrid defense system born of two completely different technological approaches. Wait, she said, a word that transcended language. The retrieval team paused. Jake realized something fundamental was happening. This wasn't just about survival anymore. This was a moment of first contact, a challenge to an entire civilization's understanding of the universe. Zara Kix began to share data. Not just words, but a complex stream of information. Her research, her observations, Jake's actions, the unexpected capabilities of a species marked as primitive in their databases. The alien figures processed the information. Seconds stretched into an eternity. Jake could feel the tension, the weight of potential outcomes. Elimination. Capture. Something entirely unexpected. Zara Kix's hand found Jake's. A gesture of solidarity, of protection, of something that transcended the boundaries of their two species. The retrieval team's metallic forms continued to shift and change. The island waited. Humanity's fate hung in the balance. Silence fell over the island. The retrieval team's metallic forms continued to shimmer, processing the unprecedented data Zara Kix had shared. Jake stood perfectly still, aware that his next move could change everything. Unprecedented adaptive capabilities, the lead figure finally announced. Its voice carried a tone that seemed almost, impossibly, like respect. Zara Kix stepped forward. Her damaged suit now pulsed with a complex network of signals, bridging the communication between her retrieval team and Jake. This human demonstrates potential beyond our current classification, she said firmly. The island seemed to hold its breath. Jake watched as the alien figures conducted their analysis. His marine research had prepared him for unexpected situations, but nothing could have prepared him for this moment. First contact. The possibility of changing humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. One of the retrieval team members produced a small crystalline device. It projected a holographic display of complex data streams, Jake's actions, their survival, the improvised technologies they had created together. Each moment was analyzed, dissected, evaluated. Recommendation. The lead figure announced. Preliminary classification change. Species. Potential. Observation status. Elevated. Zara Kix's violet eyes met Jake's. A lifetime of scientific training had taught her to maintain professional distance. But something had changed during their time on this small island. Something fundamental. The retrieval team began to prepare for departure. But something was different. They were not eliminating evidence. They were documenting it. "You will be observed," the lead figure told Jake. "Not as a threat, but as a statement of fact. Your species shows unexpected potential." Jake understood little of the specific words, but the meaning was clear. Something significant had just happened. Zara Kix approached him. Her suit was healing, alien technologies repairing themselves in ways that defied human understanding. "My report will change everything," she said. "Your civilization will be watched differently now." The alien vessel began to dematerialize. Not a violent departure, but a calculated withdrawal. Jake realized he was witnessing something extraordinary, a moment of first contact that would never be officially recorded. As the last traces of the alien technology faded, Zara Kix turned to Jake. "You demonstrated something my civilization has forgotten," she said. "The power of unexpected solutions." Jake smiled. A marine biologist who had come to a small island for routine research had just become something more. A representative of humanity's potential. A bridge between worlds. The retrieval team was gone. The island returned to its peaceful state. Waves crashed against the shore. Seabirds circled overhead. Nothing had changed. Everything had changed. Zara Kix's damaged suit projected one final holographic message. A set of coordinates. A promise of future contact. A hint of something more. Jake looked at the coordinates. Then at the ocean. Then back at where the alien vessel had been. Somewhere in the vast universe, humanity's status had just been upgraded. From an unnoticed species to something with potential. Something worth watching. Something worth understanding. The small island kept its secrets. But everything was different now.